Hello my friends. Dawn arrives on the Australian agricultural landscape and farmers start their day by observing foxes around the farm. There was no speed, brutality and bloodiness like the battles on the steppe, but here exists a war that will surprise you. Now we find out how Australian farmers are dealing with thousands of invasive foxes. In some rural areas in Australia, foxes are the main characters in farmers' stories when it comes to destructive and dangerous animals. They are not only common predators, but also a serious threat to agriculture. Foxes are solitary animals, opportunistic hunters, and specialize in capturing live prey. They use pincer-like claws and are skilled at grabbing prey with precision, combined with sharp teeth ready to tear anything apart. Therefore, foxes have the ability to kill their prey very quickly. The space is peaceful and quiet with no signs of danger. But in just a few short minutes, foxes can invade the farm and attack your livestock. Farms near forests or wild areas are places where foxes often appear to attack. The chickens lay motionless on the ground with patchy bite marks. Something terrible happened last night. The farmers knew for sure that the person causing this chaos was none other than the fox, because they've been lurking here for a few nights. Foxes are not only a danger to pets, but also a challenge to social security. They invade residential areas and consider this as their territory. Instead of wandering through the forest, foxes now appear on the streets, even entering people's houses like this. It wouldn't be worth mentioning if they didn't attack people in the area. This was a brutal attack and everything was chaotic. This woman faced the fox's aggression. You can see she tried to get away from it, but it didn't seem to want to let go. Fortunately, she survived, but the physical and psychological consequences still follow her every day. It is a feeling of fear and pain. The use of traps to control fox populations is an important measure for Australian agriculture. Traps like this are not only highly effective, but also simple, easy to use, and especially can be reused many times to implement the strategy. There are many types of traps depending on the size and weight of the fox. First of all, farmers will carefully prepare tools, traps, ropes, and bait. The process of setting traps is simple but requires strategy and caution. Farmers need to choose appropriate trap locations to maximize the ability to catch foxes. Usually, it is on routes frequented by foxes. By setting traps 2 to 3 times per week, Australian farmers have achieved significant results in controlling fox populations. According to an Australian government study, fox numbers have decreased by about 30% in the past 5 years, mainly thanks to the implementation of trapping. Therefore, it can be said that up to now, traps are a smart solution, because it not only controls the number of foxes, but also effectively protects the agricultural environment. However, the process of destroying this invasive fox species also requires attention and compliance with certain principles during the trapping process. Farmers must check the trap regularly to ensure it is working properly and is not causing injury to humans or other animals. Besides trapping, hunting is also a popular method among Australian farmers. The opening shots in the battle to protect crops. For farmers, fox hunting is not only a recreational activity, but also an important means of controlling fox populations, especially in areas such as agricultural areas in New South Wales and Victoria, where foxes often destroy farms. There is no denying that foxes are part of the Australian ecosystem, but if left unchecked, a sudden increase in fox numbers could pose a major threat to the food chain because of reduced livestock numbers. At the same time, it will affect the food source for other predators. A sudden increase in fox populations can create great pressure on the local environment, affecting ecological balance and the biosphere. Large numbers of foxes can create challenges for wildlife management agencies, especially when it comes to implementing control measures to protect farmers and the environment. These harmful effects together create a major challenge for Australian farmers, requiring them to apply innovative and effective fox control measures. In the field behind the pile of hay, the farmer was waiting. The shot killed the fox quickly. This is the result after about an hour, compared to setting traps and having to wait passively. Many farmers prefer to choose to hunt, because they can actively follow the fox's tracks, even find their dens. And you see, this choice is reasonable, because this way farmers can process larger quantities quickly. You know, foxes are omnivores. They can eat all your livestock and crops. This diversity of food sources has posed a huge challenge to efforts to prevent fox overgrowth. They are capable of hunting a variety of prey, from mice, rabbits to birds. This also increases the difficulty of control. If given the opportunity, foxes will try their luck with adult sheep and even adult cows. In fact, a study in Wales also found that sheep are an important food source for foxes during the summer. Therefore, Australian sheep farmers are always looking for ways to eliminate foxes around their grazing areas. Especially during the sheep breeding period, farmers will organise hunting to protect their farms. The car was approaching the edge of the forest, where foxes often appeared. Hunters holding their hunting equipment in their hands. A dramatic night hunt begins. They walk toward the fence around the farm and fields. He is imitating fox cries to lure them to this area. After efforts to entice, a fox appeared. This method is really effective for night hunting trips. When hunting in forests and wild areas, hunters need to be able to move flexibly in diverse environments. They must be really healthy to carry guns everywhere where foxes often go. They had to stalk and hide for hours until they killed the fox. Only when night comes, the fox's eyesight decreases, so they don't have to hide. But you see, night hunting is not easy either. Their efforts yielded surprising results. This is how many foxes they killed in one night. With every step taken at night, Australian farmers are facing the risk of great economic and psychological loss. Fox attacks not only mean the loss of hundreds, even thousands of livestock for farmers, but they also carry with them concerns about personal safety and the stability of rural communities. But you can see, faced with a great challenge, farmers in Australia do not hesitate. They have created unique strategies to protect their fields. A farmer's long day begins with careful observation. A base used to hunt foxes was placed on top of the container. He was climbing up there and looking into the distance. Farmers do not want to miss any movement in the fields. They must recognize the first signs of the appearance of foxes. Before this invasive species disappears, this battle will continue every day.
Hello, my friends. Throughout the agricultural regions of America, especially Texas, there exists a smoldering and persistent war. It is a war between farmers and wild boars, with no mercy and no end in sight. It is estimated that there are more than 9.3 million feral hogs in the United States. Texas is home to more than 5.7 million feral hogs, and they can be found in 99% of the state's 254 counties. Every year, wild boars cause about $1.7 billion USD in damage to agriculture and the environment. They are large and ferocious, with some weighing up to 590 pounds. Their presence in the area has deprived native species of food sources. Deer are one of the species that must leave a habitat when wild boars arrive. The pigs dug with their snouts, wallowing in the dirt, creating huge holes in the ground and tearing up crops. According to the Department of Conservation, a group of 10 pigs can destroy 13 to 25 acres in one night. And the holes created by pigs can destroy farmers' livelihoods. Not only do they invade farm fields and disturb crop production, wild boars are also vectors for many pathogens and parasites. They defecate in the fields, leaving behind fecal coliforms that can be infectious and pose serious health risks to humans and livestock. Farmers on farms in North Texas say feral hogs can cause thousands of dollars in damage every night. Many prevention methods have been implemented, but farmers still have to face problems caused by wild boars, because their ability to invade is proportional to their ability to reproduce and adapt to the environment. Wild boars are an invasive species, so they have no real natural predators to speak of. This means there is no natural mechanism to control their numbers. Worse still, a female pig can give birth to 2 litters of 5 to 8 cubs each, which further complicates the population problem. Births can occur every month of the year, with most wild boar populations having peak births occurring in the winter and spring months. In areas where forage is abundant, such as croplands, or where provision of supplemental food for wildlife is common, reproductive rates may be higher than average. Their ability to adapt to the environment is extremely good. During dry years, wild boars expand their home range in search of food and water. In years with above-average rainfall, wild boars grow larger and have higher survival rates of their young. Roots, vegetables, worms, and insects. They eat everything they can fit in their mouths. When conditions permit, wild boars will choose agricultural crops, often accounting for more than 50% of the plant diet and causing significant damage to agricultural fields. Wild boars even eat veal, sheep, and deer when given the opportunity. Known for its gluttony, an adult wild boar will consume approximately 3% of its body weight per day and consume it within 4 to 6 hours. Pigs' rapid digestion shows their tremendous appetite. That's why wild boars can turn your farm into ruin. These farmers are building fences around their farm areas. They will prioritize materials and designs that not only protect stray animals, but also deter invasive species. As you can see, wild boars are strong enough to overturn many types of fences and rush into farms even during the day. Therefore, farmers need to build a solid protection system. Excluding feral pigs with fencing is a safe option for small-scale farms, although it can be expensive. However, if implemented on a larger scale, it will not be very effective. In addition to fences, traps are a common and effective method of eliminating feral pigs. A wired gate system is used to allow wild boar entry, but prevent them from escaping the trap. The large trap is made of sturdy metal. Farmers will spread corn as bait to attract them. The goal is to get the whole herd of pigs at once. At night, wild boar's eyesight is quite poor, and everything will be easier. You can see a lot of wild boars caught in traps. After being captured, the next morning, farmers will come and shoot the wild boars and let them decompose on their own or collect them on the truck to be processed. Traps help them save time and still be able to take down a series of invaders like this. Texas documents show the effort has cost about $3 million of the budget each year. As rice and soybean fields begin to mature, they will become a favorite target for wild boars. Wild boars are not often active during the day, and a farmer works all day. But farmers will have to protect their land. He would have to go out at night and do something. Hour-long stalking sessions like this take place to protect their fields. The more often hunting will take place, the more likely the area in the vicinity of the farm will limit the presence of wild boars. At the same time, it inhibits their rapid reproduction rate. After setting the time, this machine will shoot corn out to attract nearby pigs. At this time, hunters can easily aim and kill them from faraway corners. Along the fields of Texas, you will see this image appear often. You may find this pursuit quite brutal. However, it is the final result of devastation that causes heavy damage to the economy and people's lives. These shots were fired in the hope of reducing the number of wild boars in the area. Hunting pressure will cause wild boars to relocate from their habitats, or at least limit their movements. Hunting with guns is the most popular method, but it is not very effective. Broken Arrow Ranch in Texas works with trappers to capture and deliver feral hogs to slaughterhouses for meat processing and packaging. They sell 1,500 to 1,700 wild boars every year. They prefer to buy medium-sized pigs, weighing between 80 and 180 pounds. Because the larger the wild boar gets, the more hormones it secretes, making the meat smell unpleasant. All pigs entering the food system are subject to federally mandated inspection under FSIS, whether they are farm-raised or wild-caught. There are currently 15 federally inspected facilities that specialize in feral hog slaughter scattered across the United States. Some Texas chefs, farmers, and meat suppliers have introduced wild boar into the food chain. They are turning this invasive animal into a sustainable source of protein for humans. At a restaurant in Austin, Texas, wild boar is a prominent dish on the menu. However, eating wild boar meat can pose many health risks, so it is not popular. This may be a negative sign for the wild boar meat production industry, but it is not necessarily a bad result. Because when the demand for wild boar meat increases, the invasion of this species will explode strongly. At this time, Texas farmers' battle with wild boars will become increasingly difficult.